Thank you. And I recognize Congressman Issa for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to ask if any of you disagree to be the first to speak up. Do you disagree that China is a current threat to the stability of sub-Saharan Africa because of their activities, including destabilizing governments and taking over whole industries of raw materials? Okay. Do you agree that they have begun a serious attack on European institutions, including WIPO? Lastly, are any of you not aware that they stole the entire plan from CERN for the next generation of nuclear research and supercollider? You're all aware of it. So then the question is, if all of that is true, that they're willing to compromise a whole continent, that they're willing to attack institutions, global institutions, and they're willing to steal the entire intellectual property designs for the next generation of research, the pride of Europe. You just have to type CERN and you can look, and it's nothing but what Europe is so proud of, all that's come out of that joint innovation that the United States has participated in since the 50s. If that's the case, then where is there a carrot left? The carrot is already that they steal everything with impunity. So now the question is, do we have the will with our European partners to begin using the stick of making it at least economically disadvantageous to them to do so? Anyone care to comment on that? Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately not. So as Dr. Rohach already said, Europe is fragmented, and I completely agree with that there are governments who are willingly in next elections. And second, they go extra mile because of the partnership with the US, not necessarily because they actually understand China threat. They knew what the Chinese government stands for. So it's very fragile, very fragmented. And I absolutely agree that we are out of carrots. Maybe the carrots could be in climate change, but honestly speaking, who cares about climate change, sincerely?
I'll leave that one where it started. My follow-up question really, though, is if China is as fragile economically as they appear to be today, they refused to honor their, literally it was announced today, their HBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation. They had promised tens of billions of dollars of backstop on their bad real estate loans. And if Hong Kong Bank, or it goes by the letters now, had to announce that, no, the Bank of China has decided they're not going to honor that. If that's the case, am I wrong, or should the United States and this body look at this as our our hardest tool, but with the least kinetic damage, is in fact an all-out economic attack, if you will, on the underpinnings of China, which is their situation in which they've been allowed to print money even more freely than the United States. They've done so, and the reality is they're not loaning money to anybody. They're actually taking your money and giving it back to you in the form of a loan. Am I missing anything, or do we essentially have what appeared to be a tiger that is, in fact, when you look at their current financial condition, they're a paper tiger? Especially if we cut off the flow of clandestine oil and natural gas to them.
One possible caveat to this would be concerns over the health of our own financial industries, both in Europe and in the United States. And we've seen financial contagions unfold in the past. I think the exact mechanisms and downside risks are not well understood even among economists. So I would have some sympathy for those who would urge caution in exercising this.
Well, and I agree with you, and I'll just close by saying I agree with you, and I use that extreme for a reason. There is no soft landing if, in fact, the see-through buildings are what they appear to be throughout China. The question is, how can we do what we need to do to China, which is recognize their false construction and their false wealth, and at the same time protect institutions in Europe and the United States? If we do nothing, we will eventually hit a cliff. So the question for the record, I know, Chairman, we have to go, is in fact ideas that would allow us to begin moving in that direction at a pace that isn't catastrophic.
Well, I think there's some very easy low-hanging fruit where we can begin. One is China's subversion of Europe's critical infrastructure, which is important also for our military posture. The Chinese have state-owned enterprises with major shareholders in 4 of the 5 Europe's major ports. In Rotterdam, Antwerp, Hamburg, Valencia, Spain. Logink, a Chinese Ministry of Transportation unified logistics platform, is embedded in at least 9 European ports, also Rotterdam, Antwerp, and Hamburg. So there is, I think, an opportunity to work with the Europeans, at least extricating our own vulnerabilities from the Chinese on critical infrastructure, and then move to the next stage of de-risking and decoupling, ultimately made more complex by the fact that, unlike the Cold War, the United States and the PRC have interwoven economies, and I think we have to be delicate and deft and intelligent in the way that we do de-risk, de-link, and ultimately decouple our economies from China without damaging our own wealth and prosperity.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.